the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the one God. Amen. Eleison emes o Theos o patiro pantocrator penetries, eleison emes if choice of noti in tenibum, shobiniman amin. Mon and tan and overthos, and an eclipsis, and then hoke gevilerok. O Lord, make us worthy to pray thankfully. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory. The prophecies of the first hour of the Tuesday Eve of the Holy Pascha, may its blessings be with us all. Amen.
In the 8th month of the 2nd year of Darius, the word of the Lord came to Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Iddo the prophet, saying, The Lord has been very angry with your fathers. Therefore say to them, Thus says the Lord of hosts, Return to me. Says the Lord of hosts, and I will return to you, says the Lord of hosts. Do not be like your fathers, to whom the former prophets preached, saying, Thus says the Lord of hosts, Turn now from your evil ways and your evil deeds. But they did not hear nor heed me, says the Lord. Your fathers, where are they? And the prophets, do they live forever? Yet surely my words and my statutes, which I commanded my servants the prophets, did they not overtake your fathers? Glory be to the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Choice nine, alleluia, canevran, neviot, nemepshirin, and bit, nevmath, oab, unotin, otamin, duxabatri, ke eo, ke ageyub, nevmati, kenin, ke ai, ke estosion, astonion, amin. The praise of the first hour of the Tuesday Eve of the Holy Pascha, may its blessings be with us all. Amen. O Lord, make us worthy to pray thankfully. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, through Jesus Christ our Lord. The power of the Lord. Kyrie eleison, hoc te tigon, envion, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Salmos toda avid Ente tavo oitheia
Somen Sophia Ortega Somen Togio
O anagnosis volgendi Evangeliones oel katalukan agios
the Psalms of our teacher David, the prophet and king. May his blessings be us all, amen. In God is my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength, and my refuge is in God. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. O Lord, have pity and mercy on us, and make us worthy to listen to your holy gospel. A chapter from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Luke, the evangelist and pure disciple. May his blessings be with us all. Amen. Then one said to him, Lord, are there few who are saved? And he said to them, strive to enter through the narrow gate. For many, I say to you, will seek to enter and will not be able. When once the master of the house has risen up and shut the door, and you begin to stand outside and knock at the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open for us, and he will answer and say to you, I do not know you. Where are you from? Then you will begin to say, we ate and drank in your presence, and you taught in our streets. But he will say to you, I tell you, I do not know you. Where you are from, depart from me, all you workers of iniquity. There'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth when you see Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all the prophets in the kingdom of God, and yourselves thrust out. They will come from the east and the west, from the north and the south, and sit down in the kingdom of God. And indeed there are last who will be first, and there are first who will be last.
Glory to you.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. The prophets of the third hour of the Tuesday Eve, the Holy Pascha, may its blessing be with us all. Amen.
The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, says the Lord. Yet you say, in what way have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, says the Lord? Yes, yet Jacob I have loved, but Esau I hated, and laid wasted his mountains and his heritage for the jackals of the wilderness. Even though Edom has said, we have impoverished, but we will return and build the desolated places. Thus the Lord of hosts, they may they may build, but I will throw down, they shall be called the territory of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord will have intimidation forever. Your eyes shall see, and you shall say, the Lord is magnificent beyond the border of Israel, and son honors his father, and a servant his master. If then I am the father, where is my honor? And if I am a master, where is my reference? Says the Lord of hosts. To you, priests, who despise my name, yet you say, in what way have we despised your name? You offer defiles flood on my altar, but say, what way have we defiled you? By saying the table of the Lord is contemptible, and when you offer the blind as a sacrifice, it will not evil, and when you offer the lame and sick, it is not evil. Offer it then to your governor. Where would he be pleasant with you? Would he accept you favorably? Says the Lord of hosts. But now entreat God's favor, that he may be gracious to us while this is being done by your hands. Will he accept your favorably? Says the Lord of hosts. Glory to the Holy Trinity, the Father and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. I mean, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, and glory to the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and unto the ages of all ages. Amen. The doxology of the third hour of Tuesday Eve of the Holy Pascha, may its blessing be with us all. Amen. O Lord, make us worthy to pray thankfully, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Kyrie eleison, toc te sigo.
O Lord, make us worthy to pray thankfully, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we give those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, thine is the kingdom. Amen.
Psalm of David, his est I have trusted in your mercy. My Oi, Senhor. Our salvation
Pertokotaxeo thinimastis acrosi Kyrion keton theonemon ekatefsomen sopheor theakosomen to agio
O anagnos esevon Gen bevangelionet oab kata lokanageyo
The Psalms of our teacher David, the prophet and king. May his blessings be with us all, amen. Consider and hear me, O Lord my God. Enlighten my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. But I have trusted in your mercy. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. O Lord, have pity and mercy on us, and make us worthy to listen to your holy gospel. A chapter from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Luke, the evangelist, apostle, and pure disciple. May his blessings On that very day, some Pharisees came, saying to him, Get out and depart from here, for Herod wants to kill you. And he said to them, Go, tell that fox, Behold, I cast out demons, and perform cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. Nevertheless, I must journey today, tomorrow, and the day following. For it cannot be that a prophet should perish outside of Jerusalem. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the one who kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to her. How often I wanted to gather your children together, as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, but you were not willing. See if your house is left to desolate, and assuredly I say to you, you shall not see me until the time comes when you say, Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. The prophecies of the 6th hour of Tuesday Eve of the Holy Pascha, may His blessing be with us, Amen. From Hosea the prophet, may His blessing be with us all, Amen.
Though you, Israel, play the harlot, let not Judah offend. Do not come up to Gilgal, nor go up to Beth-aven, nor swear on oath, saying, As the Lord lives, for Israel is stubborn, like a stubborn calf. Now the Lord will let them forage like a lamb in open country. Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. Their Their drink is rebellion. They commit harlotry continually. Her rulers dearly love dishonor. The wind has wrapped her up in its wings, and they shall be ashamed because of their sacrifices. Hear this, O priest. Take heed, O house of Israel. Give ear, O house of the king, for yours is the judgment, because you have been a snare to Mizpah and a net spread on Tabor. The revolters are deeply involved in slaughter. Though I rebuke them all, I need Ephraim and Israel is not hidden from me. For now, O Ephraim, you commit harlotry. Israel is defiled. They do not direct their deeds towards turning to their God, for the spirit of harlotry is in their midst, and they do not know the Lord. The pride of Israel testifies to his face. Therefore Israel and Ephraim stumble in their iniquity. Judah also stumbles with them, with their flocks and herds. They shall go to seek the Lord, but they will not find him. He has drawn himself from them. They have dealt treacherously with the Lord, for they have begotten pagan children. Now a new moon shall devour them and their heritage. Glory be to the Holy Father, Trinity, and Son, and Holy Spirit.
The Father and Son, and the doxology of the sixth hour of Tuesday Eve of the Holy Pascha, Christmas. Amen. O Lord, make us worthy of prayer. Thankfully, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Lord, be done as it is in heaven. Give us our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we give those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation.
Iisus Hristos, tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Verulim pernoti penoros, tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Versiois Iisus Hristos, tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Emmanuel benoti benoro, tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Versiois Iisus Hristos, tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Emmanuel benoti benoro, tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Versiois Iisus Hristos, tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Emmanuel benoti benoro, tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Versiois Iisus Hristos, tot eticum embrionem plismonem via Maishae, amin. Is the power and glory and blessing and honor forever. Amen. Emmanuel, our God and our King. To you is the power and glory and blessing and honor forever. Amen. My Lord Jesus Christ, to you is the power and glory and blessing and honor forever. Amen.
O Lord, make us worthy to pray thankfully. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come.
Salmon I will
Και περ το καταξιώθην ημάς της ακροάσεως το Άγιο Ευαγγέλιο Κύριον και των Θεών ημών, εκατεύσομεν σοφία όρθε ακούσομεν το Άγιο
Αναγνώρισες ευόλ, εν Ευαγγελίον εθώα, κατά Λούκαν Αγίο.
Mati tenzero telen potento ero scengeni tenhit kenochi mine moschi nem hanrosh envoiti kono enoti ken ohoti ente vegenes neo enge pieo etemav Emevriti nova shire igare genon nivenet hemsi igenebo emepkahitev roison en seion iveneret entovehina enteften shem gomgem isaboenai o stem bevangelionet o
From the Psalms of our teacher David, the prophet and king, may his blessings be with us all. Amen. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. O Lord, have pity and mercy on us, and make us worthy to listen to your holy gospel. A chapter from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Luke, the evangelist and pure disciple. May his blessings be with us all. Amen. But take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with carousing, drunkenness, and cares of this life, but that day come on you unexpectedly. For it will come as a snare on all those who dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch therefore, and pray always that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. And in the daytime he was teaching in the temple, but at night he went out and stayed on the mountain called Olivet. Then early in the morning all the people came to him in the temple to hear him.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the one God. Amen. The prophecy of the 9th hour of the Tuesday Eve of the Holy Pascha, may its blessings be with us all. Amen.
Sow for your self-righteousness. Reap in mercy. Break up your false ground. For it is time to seek the Lord, till he comes and rains righteousness on you. You have held weakness. You have rapid iniquities. You have eaten the fruit of lies, because you trust in your own way, in the multitude of your mighty men. Therefore, multitude shall arise among your people, and all the fortresses shall be plundered, and as shall men plundered Beth Arbel in the day of battle. A mother bashed in peace upon her child. Thus it shall be done to you, O brethren, because of the righteous, because of your great weakness. Drawn at the king of Israel shall be cut off utter. When Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son, as they called them. So they went to them. So they sacrificed the battles and burnt incense to scrape images.
Choice naimen, alleluia. Enebran, emeviot, nemepshirin, empiet, nedmarth, oeb, unotin, ootemi. Tuxabatri, ke eo, ke age, nedmarti, kenim, ke ai, ke istos, eonastonion, amin. The praise of the ninth hour of the eve of the Tuesday of the Holy Pascha. May its holy blessings be with us all. Amen. O Lord, make us worthy to pray thankfully. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, the power and the glory forever and ever. Kyrie eleison, hoc et icon, empior, templis monem priamae, shaenem, et noti pecoro, hoc et icon, empior, templis monem priamae, shaenem, rejoice, Christos, hoc et icon, empior, templis monem priamae, shaenem, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, for thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Salmos toda avit et ois na go shago.
Keberto kataxios inimestis acrotheos to evangelio Kyrion kiton theorimon evitev sumeia ortheakos omen to agio
O anagnosis volventi evangeliones oem katalukan ageo.
Sagide afti hoerof engeo pharisios opos entefom chatot foav etav shechon avchotev vi pharisios de etav nav Af viri je empefciom sensorp chagen piom Oshtem bevangelion ethoem
From the Psalms of our teacher David, the prophet and king, may his blessings be with us all. Amen. The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the peoples of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart toward generations. Lord, have pity and mercy on us, and make us worthy to listen to your holy gospel. A chapter from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Luke, the evangelist, apostle, and pure disciple. May his blessings be with us all. Amen. And as he spoke, a certain Pharisee asked him to dine with him. So he went in and sat down to eat. When the Pharisee saw it, he marveled that he had not first washed before dinner. Then the Lord said to him, Now you Pharisees make the outside of the cup and dish clean, but your inward part is full of greed and wickedness. Foolish ones, did not he who made the outside make the inside also? But rather give alms of such things as you have. Then indeed all things are clean to you. But woe to you, Pharisees, for you tithe mint and rue, and all manner of herbs, and pass by justice and the love of God. These you ought to have done, without leaving the others undone. Woe to you, Pharisees, for you love the best seats in the synagogues and greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like the graves which are not seen, and the men who walk over them are not aware of them. Then one of the lawyers answered and said to him, Teacher, by saying these things you reproach us also. And he said to him, Woe to you also, lawyers, for you load men with burdens hard to bear, and you yourselves do not touch the burdens with one of your fingers. Woe to you! For you build the tombs of the prophets, and your fathers killed them. In fact, you bear witness that you approve of the deeds of your fathers, for they indeed killed them, and you build their tombs. Therefore the wisdom of God also said, I will send them prophets and apostles, and some of them they will kill and persecute, that the blood of all prophets which was shed from the foundation of the world may be required of this generation, from the blood of Abel to the blood of Zachariah, who perished between the altar and the temple. Yes, I say to you, it shall be required of this generation. Woe to you, lawyers, for you have taken away the key of knowledge. You did not enter in yourselves, and those who were entering in you hindered.
In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. The prophecies of the 11th hour of the Tuesday eve of the Holy Pascha. May its blessing be with us all. Amen.
Evolchen amos pie prophetis erepefes moeth oeb shopin iman amin goemos kotien saeb choice o ereten on opos entefshemet shopiem evriti eno ekrom en jep in Yosef O if omf o tetrias ethoab benoti shinen tenein tiro amin.
Seek the Lord and live, lest he break out like fire in the house of Joseph and devour it, with no one to quench it in Bethel. You who turn justice to wormwood and lay the righteousness to rest in the earth. He made the Pleiades and Orion. He turns the shadow of death into morning and makes the day dark as night. He calls for the waters of the sea and pours them out on the face of the earth. The Lord is his name. He rains ruin upon the strong, so that the fury comes upon the fortress. They hate the one who rebukes in the gate, and they abhor the one who speaks uprightly. Therefore, because you tread down the poor and take grain taxes from him, though you have built houses of hewn stone, yet you shall not dwell in them. You have planted pleasant vineyards, but you shall not drink wine from them. For I know your manifold transgressions and your mighty sins. You afflicted the just and take bribes. You divert the poor from justice at the gate. Therefore the prudent keep silent at the time, for it is an evil time. Seek good and not evil, that you may live, so that the Lord God of hosts be with you, as you have spoken. Glory to the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. Glory to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and unto the ages of all ages. Amen. The prayers of the 11th hour of Tuesday eve of the Holy Pascha. May its blessing be with us all. Amen. O Lord, make us worthy to pray thankfully, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be. Eleison toc tetigum.
Salmos toda Avid et avsheno Areb fininte beshowo met mithri em besrai on hevolem evra choice.
We're going to say Ke Eberto all together.
O ananosisevo ol gen befangelionet oab kata markonageyo.
From the Psalms of our teacher, David the prophet and king, may his blessings be with us all. Amen. Where the tribes go up, the tribes of the Lord, to the testimony of Israel, to give thanks to the name of the Lord. O Lord, have pity and mercy on us, and make us worthy to listen to your holy gospel. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Mark, the evangelist and pure disciple. May his blessings but of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Take heed, watch and pray, for you do not know when the time is. It is like a man going to a far country, who left his house and gave authority to his servants, and to each his work, and commanded the doorkeeper to watch. Watch therefore, for you do not know when the master of the house is coming, in the evening, at midnight, at the crowing of the rooster, or in the morning, lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping. And what I say to you, I say to all, watch. After 2 days it was the Passover and the feast of unleavened bread, and the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might take him by trickery and put him to death. But they said not during the feast, lest there be an uproar of the people.
Serene Maria,
Cerompi ethnesos,
Thetas misinan,
emevnoti pilogos.
The commentary of the first hour of the eve of Tuesday of the Holy Pascha. May its blessings be with us all. Amen.
Our Savior walked with the disciples to Jerusalem. One of the multitude asked him, Lord, are there a few that are saved? Our Savior answered, strive to enter into in the narrow gate, lest you come and knocking, saying, O Lord, open for us. And I shall answer, I do not know you. Depart from me, you evildoer, where is weeping and gnashing of teeth. Many Gentiles from east and west will rest on Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's bosom, in the kingdom of heaven. But you will be cast away and will be dominated by your sins. Therefore repent, and your sins will be forgiven.
Christ our Saviour came and suffered for us, that he may save us through his suffering.
Let us glorify and exalt his name according to his great mercy.
The commentary of the third hour.
At that day, some people came and told Jesus Christ to depart from Jerusalem, for Herod is planning to kill him. Jesus replied, Go and tell that fox that I cast out devils and cure today and tomorrow, and the third day shall be perfected. For it is written that no prophet will be perished outside of Jerusalem. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, which kills and stones prophets, how often I wanted to gather your children, and you refuse. Therefore your house will be destroyed forever. You shall not see me until the time comes, and you shall say, Blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord.
Christ our Saviour came and suffered.
Let us glorify and exalt his name according to his great mercy.
The commentary of the sixth hour.
Our Lord Christ, as a kind physician, offers free cure for our ailments. He advised that excessive eating will overburden our hearts and weaken our bodies. Worldly cares cause many evils and deviate man from him and prevent him from his salvation, put him to death like a prey in a trap. Therefore, watch and bring forth fruit fit for repentance and righteousness, that you can stand in front of the Savior, Jesus Christ, in the day of judgment. The last days of Jesus, during the daytime, he would be in the temple teaching, but would spend the night on the Mount of Olives. From early morning, the people would gather around him in the temple to listen to his useful teachings. Those who heard him were eager to come again and drink from the living water, as it is written that his word is everlasting food for all believers.
Christ our Saviour came and suffered.
Let us glorify and exalt his name according to his great mercy.
The commentary of the ninth hour.
Listen to our merciful, kind and compassionate Lord, commanding us to be pure in our hearts, as well as our bodies. When the Pharisees who invited him were amazed that Jesus ate without washing his hands, they criticized him. Jesus, knowing their thoughts, told them, Pharisees, care too much about your outside appearance, while inside yourselves you are filled with sin and wickedness. Give alms and be just, and you will be purified. Let us be merciful toward one another, then we'll have pure hearts and minds in our bodies.
Christ our Saviour came and suffered for us, that he may save us.
Let us glorify and exalt his name according to his great mercy.
The commentary of the 11th hour.
O God, who knows about everything, about all generations before they were formed, listen to him, telling us openly that nobody knows, nor the Son of Man, except the Father. Watch and pray constantly, for you do not know when the time it is. He comes suddenly and finds you sleeping. Beware from all of the devil's temptations, and keep yourselves holy.
Christ our Saviour came and suffered for us, that he may save us through his suffering.
Let us glorify and exalt his name according to his great mercy.
In the name of the Father, and Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. According to the church tradition, since the early church, the fathers teach us that God created man on the sixth day, which falls to be a Friday. And also, Friday is the same day that God saved man. So he created him on a Friday and saved him again on the same day, Friday. And according also to tradition, we find that the fall of man actually happened on a Monday. As we know, the fall of man, as we read in the book of Genesis, when Adam fell, according to church tradition, that actually happened on a Monday. And we can see the church has put, if you attended the Pascha this morning, Monday morning, you would have come across a lot of readings from the book of Genesis, chapters 1, 2, and 3, talking about the creation, because God created man on the Friday, and you will see a lot talking about the fall of man, which happened on a Monday. And we can see that what God is trying to tell us, He's trying to link between the creation and the salvation of men, and He's trying to tell us that He is basically telling us, you fell on that, I created you on that day, I'm going to recreate you again by saving you on Good Friday, and you fell on the Monday. That's why we are reading the readings this morning about it. But also, everyone knows that Monday is a big day about what? The fig tree. Very popular fig tree. We see a lot of reference to fig tree. I'm not going to look at the fig tree from the angle that we normally look at, but then I'm going to go back and talk about the fig tree from a different perspective, in the context of the fall of men. If we actually look at the references to all the fig trees and all the trees, we find there's a lot of references in the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, about vineyards and gardens and trees. And all the time God is trying to represent His relationship with us in the form, for example, in a vineyard, and how He protected and how He does many things to protect it so it can produce fruit. So He uses that analogy for us to between the relationship between man and God. But then we see what happens in terms of the fall of man. If we look at the details of the fall of man, it's actually quite sad, because from the beginning, before the fall, we can see that everything was perfect. God lived with Adam in the Garden of Eden, and this is the first garden that was mentioned in the Bible. And God wanted to portray a very nice picture that God created the Garden of Eden, and He created all the universe. He created everything. He created the galaxies, the stars, the animals, the plants, everything. He created everything to be ready for what? For man. And then finally He created man. Why? The idea was for God and man to live together in communion. And it says, as we read this part in the book of Genesis, we see that, and we hear that God was talking and walking with Adam in the Garden of Eden. And he can enjoy his company on a daily basis. It's a personal relationship. Imagine you talking and walking with God every day like you do with a friend. Imagine how beautiful that would be. And we see when Eve was created, she joined, and she as well enjoyed that beautiful communion with God. But we see what happened after that. What happened after that is the sad events. We see that when man and woman failed to obey the only commandment that God gave them, the only commandment, when they broke that one, that was a complete turning point. Before they were living, there's no fear, there's no problem, everything was perfect. And Adam, God brought everything to him, and he named all the animals and the creatures. He ruled over them, he had control over them. There was no issue, there's no problems at all. And even we find that both Adam and Eve were naked in the Garden of Eden, and they were not ashamed of it. And it's said that very clearly in the Bible. And we'll come back to that later, the significance of that. But you see, when the fall happened, it's a complete opposite. What happened? We remember that once they ate from that tree of knowledge of good and evil, they realized they were naked. They went, I'm saying stories all of us know, but it's very important for us to see this sequence. They went and hide it from God. How did they hide from God? They went and got what? The link back to the readings of this morning. They got some leaves from where? From the fig tree. Why? Because the leaves of the fig tree are big. And they put them together and they covered themselves, covered their nakedness. And they were hiding behind the trees. Then, when God came, I want to read this part because it's very important. When God came, it says and they heard, this is from Genesis chapter 3, and they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. That's usual. God walked in the Garden of Eden and they were fine with that before. But what happened? This day was different. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. Then the Lord God called to Adam and said to Adam, "Where are you?" So hear the response of Adam. He said, "I heard your voice in the garden and I was afraid because I was naked." I was afraid because I was naked. You think he was afraid because he broke the commandment? You think he was afraid because God is going to be very upset from him? But the thing that was on his mind, the first thing that came to his mind, I was afraid because I'm naked. What's the significance of that? What's the significance of him feeling this way? We need to understand something very important, that nakedness comes with it many horrible sin comes with it comes out of it many horrible consequences. And feeling of being ashamed and naked is one of them. Before the sin, Adam and Eve were like little children. They had the purity of heart and they were very simple, like a baby. And actually, I've read something very interesting. I read that in the 1st century, when they used to actually paint the icon of Jesus as a baby, they used to actually portray him or draw him as a naked baby. And some people will find this a bit offensive, like, why a naked baby? Isn't that disrespectful to God? But the early church had that thought, that this represents that God is saying, because God is pure and holy, he doesn't need to be covered like Adam had to cover after he found out, after he sinned. He doesn't have to cover because he's sinless. And this is we can see from that. But if we look at how the reaction of Adam, that he hid because he felt he was naked. Why is that? Because this is something that really scares most people. I'm sure this is actually, a lot of people get dreams, it really scares them that they're naked in a public place and they feel so ashamed and helpless and defenseless, and this creates a lot of anxiety to people. And if you look up the definition of nakedness in a normal dictionary, you'll find obviously, other than, there's no clothes, you'll find the more deeper meaning for us is things like helplessness, defensiveness, exposed. So when we see the references to the fig tree in the readings of today, and then we look back at the story of the creation and the fall, then we can't help it, but we have to link the two together. Some people might say, well, does God hate fig trees? That's why he cursed it. But we can see when our Lord Jesus Christ saw the fig tree with all these leaves, this is my own personal contemplation. He recalled the fig trees that Adam and Eve used to hide with their leaves. He remembered the fig tree that they used to hide and to cover their nakedness. When we look at the curses that God put on Adam and Eve after they fell, we see that they're very horrible. The actual ground was cursed. He said, the ground is cursed for your sake, and you will toil and you will labor, and you will get thorns out of it, and the woman would labor in giving birth, and nothing would be easy and smooth as before. But we see what happens afterwards is God is taking this punishment upon himself on the cross. So we're going back and forth, making the links between what happened at the very beginning of creation to what is happening during this week. The fig tree that we hear about a lot during Monday in the readings, God, obviously there's many contemplation about it, and we know it represents the hypocrisy of the Pharisees and the scribes. And usually on Monday night we'll talk about as we read, all the woes to the scribes and Pharisees and the judgment and condemnation. And we expect to hear all these very strong words about being condemned for being hypocrite and all that. But then we see today that God is trying to tell us something different about what we can do, not to fall in the same mistake that Adam did. Because what the problem that Adam did is he sinned, but then he tried to find a human solution to cover his sin. He ran to the fig tree and got these leaves from it. He wanted to find a solution to cover his nakedness. So he relied on his own self. He relied on his own knowledge, on his own mind. He worked out, this is the best solution for me. But he forgot something very important. That if you don't know, the leaves of the fig tree actually dries off very quickly. So it's not going to last long. That solution will only be temporary. You need to get more leaves and put them together to cover himself. So that temporary solution, it's not really the solution for his problems. There has to be a better solution than that. And we see our Lord in his gentleness, even though they were thrown out of the Garden of Eden, even though there was a lot of curses. But we find in the last minute, in the last second, our Lord, what did he do? He didn't want them to leave them naked, because he knows that this is a temporary solution. It's not going to solve the problem. So he himself, what? Gave them tunics of skin. For him to get the skin, where does that come from? What's the difference between the skin and the leaves? Where would they get the skin from? From animals. There has to be a sacrifice. There has to be blood. So from the very beginning, he was teaching a very important lesson that for you, only the blood of Christ will cover your sins. It's not your own deed. It's not your own hard work. It's not, you can't save yourself by yourself. And this is very important for us to understand. Because many times, and many people think it's by their own, if there's someone is a good person, that's enough for them to be saved. No. No. Only can be Christ. Salvation comes through Christ. Of course, we need to do our part. And that's why St. James says faith and works go together. But my good works enough will never save me. If we look at what does actually these leaves represent in our life. Before I say this, I want to say something, two quick stories, or start with one from the Bible, about the story that we read in the book of Acts, about Hananiah and Sapphira. The two people that at the time of the apostles, the early church, the people used to go and sell their properties and put it under the feet of the apostles. No one asked them to do that, but they did that voluntarily. But these two people thought, we can't be different. We have to fit in with everyone else. Everyone's doing that. We love money, but what we're going to do, we're going to go and sell our stuff as well, but we're going to keep some money for ourselves and give the rest to the apostles. So we look like everyone else. We'll look righteous from the outside, but we'll keep some money for us. God did not expect him to do that, to actually sell the properties. That part, it would never have been a sin for them if they didn't sell the properties. And it would never be a sin for them if they decided, no, we don't want to do the same as everyone else, we're going to keep it. But the sin was that they actually went and exactly did as the fig tree. From the outside, they had leaves. They appeared to be righteous from the outside. They appeared to be doing the right thing, but there was no fruit inside. They lied to the apostles. And we see the end was actually death. The end was very serious consequences. It was death. Because of a lie, it would have been better for them not even to sell that and give it to the disciples. But the problem is they sinned and they covered their sin. They sinned and they covered their sin. And they thought they're going to get away with it by lying. But we see, if you compare that with another story in the book, in the epistle, it happened in the city of Corinth, in the Corinthians. In St. Paul's time, there was someone who had a horrible sin. Had a horrible sin. He had an affair with his dad's wife. So he looks like stepmother. Horrible sin. Horrible sin. And this was punishable, obviously, by very big punishment. But we'll see something very strange happen at the end of the story. St. Paul actually asked the people to accept them back. Why is that? It's because these people, even though they committed a horrible sin, much, much worse than what the other people did in the first story, but the reason why they were saved at the end is because they did not cover their sin. They offered repentance with tears, and they struggled, forgot to accept their repentance, and they offered genuine repentance and did not cover their sin, but they exposed their sin, and that's what they were saved at the end. This is the comparison I'm trying to make. Is doing a sin is one thing, but trying to cover that sin, this is another thing. And we need to understand that we need to, each one of us will try to hold into the fig tree. I might need the leaves in time of trouble. In times when I'm in difficulty, I might need to make that white lie to get out of some things. I might need to deceive someone to make more money. I might need to cheat to pass something. But today God is telling us we need to uproot that fig tree that we have in our heart. Because God planted, as He planted the Garden of Eden, and all the references in the Old Testament, all these different gardens and vineyards and all this, that actually is a representation of my heart. As God dwelt with Adam in the beginning in the Garden of Eden, that was a taste of, or a symbol of what God wanted to do. God wanted to live in my heart. And He has done that. We find in the New Testament, God has prepared my heart to be a dwelling place for Him. He has deposited His Holy Spirit inside me when I was baptized. And every time I go and partake of His body and blood, I have a communion with Him. That's what's called the Holy Communion. I do exactly what Adam did with God in the Garden of Eden. I actually go and have a communion with Him on a personal level. And every time I have that communion, I abide in Him and He in me. And He becomes inside me. And this is what God wants to make our heart. God wants to purify our heart. Why? Because it's a dwelling place for Him. Your body, as St. Paul said, your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. And this is something, it's not a simple, it's a reality. And we need to actually be convinced about that. It's not a symbol. This is real. God lives inside us. We have His Spirit. Every time I'm doing anything, God is with me. Every time I'm eating, God is with me. Every time I'm working, God is with me. When I'm walking, God is with me. What about when I'm sinning? What happens? Do I remember that God is with me? If we are aware of this fact, we're not going to sin. And that's why some people, when they try to find solutions for the problem, at that time, they resort to things that obviously upsets God, because at that moment, they do not remember that God is actually with them. And then when they repent, they realize that God was with them. That's why they need to repent. But when we see that God wants to today uproot that, take out of our heart that fig tree, because He doesn't want us to live in hypocrisy and to focus on the outward appearance. As we heard in today's gospel, when our Lord went to dine with the Pharisee, He was so shocked. How can you eat without washing first? This is what He was thinking about. He had Christ with Him. He left Christ and the blessings that came with Him. And He did not enjoy the company of Christ. He did not enjoy being with Him face to face. And He focused what? On the outside appearance. How can He not wash? Sometimes we do that. Sometimes in our relationship with God, we don't go to the depth. We focus on the outside. How do I look in front of people when I worship? Do I do it right? What will people think about me? Will people look at me when I'm doing my taniyas? I want to make sure I look nice before people. Are people looking up to me because I know certain hymns and I'm a great deacon or a great servant? We get so bogged down into what people think about us, the outward appearance. And when this is good, I think I'm covered, I'm okay. But what am I hiding with this? I hope I'm not doing the same mistake that Adam and Eve did. I hope that we're not taking the leaves of the fig tree and covering our nakedness. Because if we do that, we'll never ever solve the problem. But what are you hiding behind these leaves? This is a question for every one of us today. What are we hiding behind these leaves? Am I hiding certain insecurities? I don't want to expose them before people because I'm very vulnerable. People will see my vulnerability. And I don't want to expose myself before people. I don't want to expose myself before people. So I'll pretend that everything's okay. You know, when people go through a difficult time, they don't want to expose themselves. They say, hey, everything's fine, everything's okay. I've got some fig trees, I'll be right, I'll just cover them, everything will be fine. But no, that will never work. This is a band-aid solution. We need to go for the permanent solution. We need to understand that the best way. God is faithful and just. When we confess our sins, He will forgive us our sins. We need to, whenever we do anything wrong, we need to admit it. We need to admit our weaknesses. We need to go and expose our sins in front of God in repentance, and go and practice the sacrament of confession properly and expose our sins. This is the only way to be saved from them. Many people are so scared of the sacrament of repentance and confession because of this. They don't want to expose themselves. Who wants to appear naked? Everyone gets scared. I don't want to appear naked. Abuna's going to judge me. People are going to judge me. I want to maintain that nice looking image that's covered by nice looking leaves. It doesn't matter the corruption inside. It doesn't matter the dirt inside. As long as from the outside looks nice. But I'm kidding myself. Because God knows my nakedness very well. As the Bible tells us, everything before God is naked. God can see through anything. God can see through my weaknesses. God can see my sins. So who am I actually hiding these sins from? Who am I hiding these weaknesses from? Not from God. I'm hiding from myself. I don't have the courage to stand in front of the mirror and look at myself and say, I have sinned. I have sinned. We find many examples in the Bible that people who admitted that, the people that won at the end. I remember, it made me remember the parable of the prodigal son. And at the beginning, he had everything. In his father's house, he had everything. He had no need of anything. Everything was provided to him. And his dad was so rich, and he had servants. He was living like a prince. But what happened when he decided, I want to do it my own way? I don't need you. I don't need God in my life. I'm going to do it my own way. Then he went and he lost everything. He could not even eat the food of the pigs. That's the state he went to. And he tried to cover under many things. He thought, I'm going to get away with it. But then later, when he repented and came to himself, he didn't think, what excuse I'm going to give? I'm going to go back to my dad. I'm going to put some fig trees on me, fig leaves on me, and look presentable before my father and tell him, look, I just came back. I don't really need you, but I came back maybe because you need me or something. I'm not going to admit I did anything wrong. Just decorate myself with nice fig leaves and that will solve the problem. No. The fathers call him not the prodigal son, they call him the clever son, because he repented and went back and said, I'm not worthy to be called your son. I don't deserve that. Even that title, I don't deserve it. This is true repentance. Someone who goes and he came to himself and faced his weakness. He faced his insecurities. He confessed about his sins. If we don't confess our sins, there's no forgiveness. There's a very, very harsh verse how Lord Jesus Christ said it. When they were asking him, there was natural disasters that happened and people died, he told them, look. And they told him, the disciples told him, look, these people died. So he told them, do you think these people died because they were sinners? They were bad? You too, if you don't repent, likewise you will perish. And he repeated the same verse twice within 1 or 2 verses of each other. Likewise, if you don't repent, you will perish. Don't think because you come to church and you know some hymns and you know a few verses from the Bible that this is enough for your salvation. No. We need to go and expose ourselves before God. We need to admit our nakedness. The Bible said it very clearly in the Genesis, in the first chapters that we read. And that's what I said, I'm going to come back to it later. Why did the Bible say very clearly, one of the main descriptions the Bible wants to describe to us, the state of Adam. He didn't say he was doing something special, he was doing things, or he was happy, or He said, and Adam was naked. Why? Why emphasize that? It's very strange. Because he wanted to compare before and after. To say he was naked and was happy, he was fine, because there was no sin. But once sin entered, then comes with it what feeling of shame, guilt, fear, exposure. Let's run and hide. And he hid from God. Similar to what Jonah did, he went to the bird down and he said, I'm going to hide from God, and I'm going to sleep. God's not going to see me. Sometimes we do that. Sometimes we do that. Because we focus again on the outward appearance. This is very dangerous. And our Lord today is saying you don't need this victory in your life. When He cursed it, He's sending us the message is you don't need that. You don't need the victory in your life. You need me in your life. You need the tree of life. You need me. Because without God, we will die. But He's the source of life. And that's why when Adam separated himself from God, he was bound, destined for death. That's why God had to come and save him again. So whenever we see these references to that, I always remember that God wants my heart to be a dwelling place for Him. He even said, the kingdom of God is in you, is within you. Sometimes we don't understand that. So inside us, there's a book called The Way of the Ascetics. It's a compiled sayings written by a monk, putting all the sayings of different monks. They're saying how to live the monastic life in the world, how to be like, because I guess most of us here are going to be joining the monastery and become nuns or monks. But how can we live this life in the world? And part of it is talking about that within you have the kingdom. Inside you have it. So live inside that kingdom. Why? Because it's permanent, because it's eternal, has no limit. So living with God would not be limited to coming to church, because you come to church, pray a mass, after 2 hours you leave. It doesn't end there. Or you pray and then it finishes. But when you look deep inside, our heart is a taste of heaven. And it's permanent. And if we really, really understand that, then we'll live heaven on earth. Because God has equipped us, as I said earlier, and He's put His Spirit in us. And we unite with Him in Holy Communion. And when we sin, He says, don't worry, I'll wash your feet. And we'll see He's going to wash our feet on Thursday. I'll wash your feet through repentance and confession. So we have no excuse. How can we ignore such a great salvation? How can we ignore that? Today we need to get rid of the fig tree in our life. Do not rely on human solutions. Do not hide your sins. Go to confession and do not worry about being ashamed of your sins, because this is the only way to get it. The Father says sin has to be exposed. Sin has to be exposed because sin likes to hide in darkness. It's similar to, we have insect, cockroaches in particular. If you go to a place infested with cockroaches, they like the dark. Once you turn on the light, you go into the kitchen and turn on the light, you find what? Cockroaches creeping everywhere. Where were they before? They were in the same place, but what happened? They hate the light. The light exposes them, so they have to run, escape. This is what happens with repentance and confession. When you turn on the light on the sins and your weaknesses and your faults, they're going to run, they're going to escape. And this is how we defeat the devil, by exposing it. Not putting the fig trees, but actually going to God. We need to go to God and kneel down at His feet and say, God, I expose myself before you. You know my nakedness. I admit it before you. Cover me with the skin that you gave through your body and blood. That's the only way to cover my nakedness. Glory be to God.
Christos en sotir.
Ask and entreat you, O Lord God the Father Almighty, and the only holy begotten Son, the Creator and benefactor of all, and the Holy Spirit, the life-giver, before whom kneels down every creature in heaven and on earth. We ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. For the sake of perfect peace and the unity of all the churches in the world, and the monasteries and all the holy places, and their dwellers and keepers, O God, have pity on your creation, and save us from all evil. We ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. You who prepared for the life of man before his creation and made all things with your wisdom, and embellished the sky with stars and the earth with vegetation and trees and vineyards, and the valleys with shrubs and roses, you now, O our King, accept unto you the prayers of your servants standing between your holy hands, saying, we ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. O great and holy God, who created man according to your image and to your likeness, and gave him a live and reasoning soul, have mercy, O Lord, on your creation which you have created, and have compassion upon us, and bestow upon us your mercy, from the loftiness of your holiness and your many mansions. We ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. Lord, have mercy. You who saved your servant, the righteous Noah, from the deluge, he and his children, and their wives, and also the animals clean and unclean, in order to renew the earth once more. We ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. You, the Creator and benefactor of all, save your people from the deluge of the sea of this world, and preserve them and the animals from harm. As for the birds, give them their food as you give cattle pasture and feed the baby crows. We ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. Lord, have mercy. You who were received as a guest by your servant Abraham, the father of fathers, and sat at his table and blessed his offspring, you now, O our King, accept the prayers of your servants and priests, standing between your holy hands, and have mercy on the world, and save your people from any hardship, and dwell in them and accompany them. We ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. We ask you, O Lord, to guard us from all evil and have pity on your creation and all your people, because all people look up unto you and you give them their food in due time. You're the feeder of everybody, the help of the helpless and the hope of the hopeless. We ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. You who looks to the humble with the ever-attentive eyes of your concern, and saved Joseph from his master's wife, and made him king of Egypt and its affairs, and let him pass safely the days of tribulation, till his brethren and his father came to him, and knelt down before him, and took from him wheat, food for their children and their cattle. Likewise, we bow down before you and kneel down before your hand and thank you, our Creator and Benefactor, for this condition and in every condition and for all conditions, and pray that you save us from all hardships. We ask you, O Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
O God, locus of the Father, who works in the law, the prophets, and the Old Testament, and fulfill them, save your people from every hardship, manage their lives according to your good will, and spare them from famines and calamities. We ask you, O Lord, hear us, and have mercy on us. O you who supported the people of Israel 40 years in the desert of Sinai, though they had no houses or storehouses, O my Lord, keep now your people and bless their houses and storehouses with your heavenly blessings. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy upon us. Oh, you accepted the prayer of Elijah that the Shpaitu with sky rain and that produced vegetation, and blessed the pearl of wheat and the vessel of oil in the widow's house. Accept the prayers of your people through the intercession of your holy saints and prophets. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy on us. Oh God, have compassion on the world with kind and merciful eyes. Bless their crops and storehouses and the little they may have. Raise the waters of the river according to the measure. Grant moderation unto the winds. Split the Nile of Egypt this year and every year. Give joy to the face of theirs and to us men. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy on us. Oh, you accepted the repentance of the Ninevites when they fasted together and received the confession of the right hand thief upon the cross. Make us all worthy of believing you and receiving your compassion, crying and saying, remember us, O Lord, when you come into your kingdom, and receive from your servant their repentance, their confession, their fasting, and their offering, which are offered upon your holy altar as acceptable incense. And have mercy on them. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy on us. O you, the mighty provider, just healer and physician of our souls and bodies, who tested his servant Job and healed him of his calamities and recompensed them for his losses with more than what he had. Have mercy on your people and save them all from calamitous tribulations, trials, and hardship. O upholder of those who trust in you, we ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy on us. O Christ, our God, Logos of the Father, who sanctified his pure disciples, washed their feet, and made them leaders of the believers and a light for the faith, who by them satisfied hungry souls and taught them to pray, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all the evil one. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy on us.
Lord, have mercy.
O you, the wonder worker who fed thousands from the 5 loaves, and raised the dead and blessed the wedding at Cana of Galilee, now you, O Lord, bless the bread, the oil, the fruits, the honey, the stores, the trays, and the affairs of your servants. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. O Lord, save your people and protect them from all sides with the life-giving sign of your cross. Raise the lot of Christians in all the world and soften the hearts of their rulers towards them and their hearts with charity towards the poor and the needy. Brethren, deliver them from all evil. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
O Lord, who left for us the holy covenant of his body and blood every day on the altar, as bread and wine transformed by your Holy Spirit, and commanded us, saying, Do this in remembrance of me. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy upon us. O Christ, our God, have mercy on your people and the descendants of your apostles. Give blessing to the fruit of all the earth, and make happy the heart of man by multiplying the fruits of wheat, vines, and oil. We ask you, Lord, hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
O you who is begotten from the Father and was incarnated from the Immaculate Virgin Saint Mary, at the fullness of time, who said unto his holy apostle, Go and preach all the nations, and baptize them and teach them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Be also with you people who cry unto you, saying, We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. You are the forgiver of sins and the giver of good things. Forgive the sins of your people, and cleanse them from all uncleanness, and wash them from all deceit, and keep them from bearing false witness and all envy and slander. Take away from their hearts evil thoughts and unbelief and pride and covetousness. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
O Virgin Mother of God, you are the fence of our salvation and the pregnable fortress. Bring to naught the counsels of the adversaries, and turn the afflictions of the servants into joy. Defend our city and fight for the Orthodox kings and rulers, and pray for the peace of the world and churches. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. You, the God of mercy and compassion and the Lord of consolation, do not be displeased with us or rebuke us for our evil deeds or the multitude of our sins. Do not be angry with us or let your anger last forever. Hearken, O Lord, the God of Jacob, and look you, O you, the God of our succor, protect the world from death, scarcely pestilence, earthquakes, horror, and causes of fear. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
For the sake of our protection under your holy and lofty hands, O God, we ask you to keep for us the love of His Holiness our Pope Abbatatus II, in his suit to him and his see for many quiet and peaceful years. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. O Christ, our Lord, we ask for your goodness and your great mercifulness to keep for us the love of our fathers and metropolitans, the bishops and all the clergy, and the laity. Multiply the dignity of the clergy. Give purity to the deacons, strength to the elders, understanding to the young, chastity to the virgin, asceticism to the monks and nuns, virtue for those in wedlock, and protection for women. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
Also raise the fallen, return the travelers safely to their homes, support the widows and the orphans, and give plenty to those in poverty. Those who are in debt, pay their debts for them, and forgive them, and those who are in distress give them comfort. Heal the sick and repose the departed. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us. O God of our Father, the saints, do not forsake us or neglect those whom you created with your hands. O you, the merciful, who revealed his love to mankind, accept from your mother intercession on our behalf and save us. Save the Savior, you the Savior of the humble. Do not forget us forever or renounce us unto the end. For the sake of your holy name and your beloved Abraham and your servant Isaac and your saint Jacob, do not break your covenant with us or deprive us of your mercy. We ask you, Lord, to hear us and have mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy.
Efenotinai nante shonai eron eri onai nimen gentek metoro.
Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Ora che ti herini moinanen te herini seminanen te herini kanori kanevon. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Emmanuel, benoti, penten viti, tino ente bevior, nem mathoel. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. In voce movet telestos, en ignoten abatos, en bender matholantiam paschae sotiemon. Amin, alleluia, doxa matrike, io che agion nermati, che sos eonas soleonon, amin, ten voce volingo emos Jehoven choice, Isos ver frescos, bien lavasce pestavrose che conclemem Satanas, sabasit in chala, sotiemon o nainan, amin, alleluia, glory
Glory to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, now and forever, and unto the ages of ages. Amen. We proclaim and say of our Lord Jesus Christ, who was crucified on the cross, crushed Satan under our feet. Save us and have mercy upon us. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, aminis moerois, timatania coniebur antiesmo.
Jesus Christ, our true God, who accepted the passion willingly and was crucified on the cross on our behalf, may He bless us with all spiritual blessings, help us and complete for us the Holy Pascha, show us the happiness of His holy resurrection for many years to come, through the never-ending intercessions of the blameless Holy Lady, the Orthodox and Mary, and all the choirs of angels and archangels, through the prayers of the patriarchs, the prophets, apostles, the martyrs, the just and the righteous, the cross-bearers, the ascetics, the confessors, the anchorites, and through the blessings of the Holy Pascha of our good Saviour, may the holy blessings, the grace, the power, the gifts, the love, and the help be with us all forever. Amen. Per Christos ben noti. O King of peace, grant us your peace, establish for us your peace, and forgive us our sins. For yours is the power, the glory, the blessing, and the honor forever. Amen. O Lord, make us worthy to pray thankfully, our Father, who art in heaven.
Tomorrow morning there will be an early Pascha from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning in the main church, half in English, half in Arabic. And then the normal times, 9 to 12 for the morning Pascha, and then 6 to 9 in the evening for the evening Pascha. And we'd like to let you know there is a new English bookshop. It's open just outside the doors of the English church under the stairs. There are plenty of great books to read during Holy Week and lots of Pascha books if you'd like to get them as well. And now the love of God the Father, and the grace of His only begotten Son, Jesus Christ our Lord, and the gift and the communion of the Holy Spirit be with us all. Go in peace, the Lord be with you.